Let's move on to some of the running backs. We have a few to talk about. The first one didn't come off the board until Jonathan Brooks at 46, and then we got a few guys that we're going to touch on with Trey Benson, Blake Corm, Marshawn Lloyd, and Briar Allen. But let's start with Jonathan Brooks. This is a pick that, like, I don't know if this is just me staring at the draft too long. It probably is, but the more that I sat with it, the less I liked it. And then because I went back and watched Jonathan Brooks, and I don't know, he wasn't all that dynamic. I think he's a very solid back, but what's his one good thing that like with Trey Benson, he's gonna, I know he can hit a 50-yarder.
Yes.
With Brooks, he already wasn't the best athlete, and now he's coming off the ACL, and they traded up for him. It just feels very risky to me.
At a spot, they already have a couple guys. They just paid Miles Sanders. I know it's a new regime and all that, or new decision makers, but still on the roster.
New-ish.
You still they didn't need to address it, especially that early, especially for this team where they're at and what they need, or just overall. Yeah, I like the player. I never fell in love with Brooks. I liked him always, and it was like he's like a B+ player. Like he's just he does a lot of nice things, but I just could not get all the way there with him. I think he ended up my third running back. And I actually originally even had him below Allen at one point. But yeah, that one, I'm exactly, I even in the moment, I was like, oh, the Panthers took him? Because like, it was like, that was not the team I was expecting. I know the Cowboys loved him. If the Cowboys did take him, it's like, all right, whatever. That's actually a fair landing spot for him. They need a guy like this, 3-down kind of guy. But yeah, the Panthers one just felt like it was unnecessary, especially for where they're at. I would have liked them to like just even take like freaking another pass catcher or something. What's especially at that spot in the draft and not move, to do it.
I feel like the Panthers draft in general is very risky. Like Xavier Leggett.
It's all athletic stuff, like pro. Yeah. Like, that's what it feels like.
So you got not Leggett, Xavier Leggett, Jonathan Brooks, then they picked Jatavion Sanders in round 4. It's like, whoa, this is you got some low floors over here, pal.
Well, and then their number one tight end right now is Tommy Tremble, and him and Sanders are like built exactly the same. Tremble's like a better blocker and everything, but it's like you just got the same kind of like, they're not like a Y, but they're not totally like a full on like, yeah, you can split them out as a number one, like kind of like a true receiving only guy. So it's kind of like you got 2 1.5 guys, as far or half guys, I guess you would put it, as opposed to like they could do one or the other. So that one was interesting. That one too. Sanders did grow on me in the process, but I'm still again, I didn't think that Panthers would be a landing spot for him.
Yeah. Next running back, we're going to hit on Trey Benson to Arizona. I love this same landing spot for him. I think it's perfect. Dude, I think the way the Cardinals, like their skill group is set up for the immediate future and the long term is pretty damn fun. It's fun, man.
It's pretty tasty. I know. I'm loving what the Panthers. No, what the Cardinals are doing right now. I mean, they had so many picks, but it was. I mean, Trey McBride's real. He's like a good receiving tight end. So they got the Y too. They got Tip Ryman from Illinois. So I love that because like, and he's a big athlete. He's not like a Y, like a blocking tight end. That's just like a big stiff,
right.
Like, my dad. But it wasn't like anything. But it wasn't anything like that. But he like nice complementary skill sets with maybe a little bit more to like tap into. And so I like that. I thought that was fair. I think third round for that the tight ends were all kind of bunched together for everybody. But yeah, I mean, you're going with you get McBride, you get Marvin Harrison, Trey Benson, and James Conner, complementary skill sets. James Conner's the thumper. Benson's big, actually. He runs tough by everything, but he's the home run hitter. He's got really good hands. I love Benson was my running back 1. I think he checks the boxes I like. He can take any run to the house and he can catch the football. And I think his vision's like okay, solid, but he can make up for it. It's okay. But he's willing to run between the tackles, which I think is huge. It's not he always bounces everything kind of thing. So I think that's why it's like you can make him work because he runs so tough and his balance is so good. He might be, as Dane Brugler, who I work with at The Athletic, said, he might be a rookie contract only type career. So I was like, that makes sense because of his knee and maybe his running style a little bit.
And running backs aren't people, so.
Can't, God forbid.
Second contract. You're lucky you got the first one, pal.
You got drafted.
Dude, if Kyler Murray picks up like kind of where he left off to close the season, this is a fun team.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is still a big work in progress, but the offense should score some points at the very least.
Yeah. I love their OC too, Drew Petzing. He was doing some cool stuff last year. Yeah, no, Cardinals are like they're one of my teams to watch this year. Just like they're the frisky plus team. I'm very excited to watch them. I like their line coach too. He does cool stuff, and then the defense coordinator. They're like, like you said, I don't think they're gonna be great, and I don't think they're gonna be good, but they're gonna be at least fun because they're gonna just do some wild, crazy stuff. So yeah, excited to watch the Cardinals this year.
Good first step. Let's stay in the division. Blake Corum went to the Rams. What was your thoughts when this pick went across? Because I was just like, damn, that's peak Rams, peak Sean McVey.
Oh, I was like, of course.
Of course.
Like Corm and like Kyron Williams run like exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
It makes sense. What's Corm best on? He's duo. What are the Rams more than anyone? Duo, which is a power-ish run, at you, gap run. So it's like, yeah, of course he went to the Rams. I saw the LA, but I was like, oh, he went to Harbaugh. That's why everyone assumed he might go back there because they could use a guy like him. But no, once he went to the Rams, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, of course that makes sense. And he's got some, wearing his tires, but him and like, that's fine. Him and Kyron, that's a really nice complementary backs. They both are 3 down guys, pass protection and stuff like that. So yeah, really liked it.
I knew coming into this process that Corm was never going to be like the greatest athlete, but I do say the more I sat with his game and watched it, the more I became a fan. Like,
yes, thank you.
He's a good player, and the way I kind of felt like if I had to go teach like a JV player how to play running back, I might pull Blake Corum clips to show him how to do that.
Yes, he's a running back's running back.
Yes. Yes.
Same, and you know else is like that? Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams is a running back's running back. They're all about the film. They don't care really. I bet you he could have ran a 4.6 something, like, which is what I thought he was going to run, and he ran actually pretty well. He tested pretty well. So I think that's what they're going to trust the film, and his film's so good, just like you said. Like his vision's so good, his tempo is so good. So even the other guy they have on the roster, Ronnie Rivers, he runs the exact same way. It's just, they have a type, and I love that type because that's the type of running back I like.
And they're just going to run people over too. Like the offensive line, the interior. I cannot wait to watch Steve Avila play center, bro. I cannot wait to watch that.
They're so big.
Dotson, the left guard's like 325. Jonah Jackson's small at like 310, 315.
But plays like he's 350. He tries to murder everybody. Oh, I know. Even their tackles are jumbo. Like Rob Havenstein's 6'8", 340. It's, yeah. I know. And then they signed Colby Parkinson from the Seahawks, who's just like he's a ass kicking blocker. Yeah, I kind of know what they're going to go for this year. They're going to be pounding that rock.
I love Sean McVay. I feel like sometimes the way we talk about some of these offensive minds in the NFL, we treat them as if they're playing like basketball on grass. But Sean McVay, he's here to punch you in the mouth, bro. Yep. Like they are going to kick your ass and then throw play action behind it. And what are you going to do? Our quarterback throws 100 miles an hour and we're bigger than you.
And then if you want to load it up, you want to load up the box. Oh, you're going to play single high against Matthew Stafford? Okay. All right. Have fun with that. It's awesome. And that's what the duo runs great. You can run against anything. And that's what they're running a bunch of concepts. I'm going to write so much about the Rams this year like I did last year. But it's like they're running the ball and passing the ball with kind of like you can't, like they have answers to everything because Stafford's so good and the concepts they run are so deep that they're always going to have an answer to the coverage. That's what duo does. You can run it against anything. So it's kind of like they're not letting defenses like manipulate them, which is like, yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. Did you know Mike Munchak is consulting there?
I did not know that.
And it makes sense. How they run the ball now is how those old Steelers teams did with the Bees, with Le'Veon Bell and all that. So
consulting game's hot right now,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Get that $200,000. You're a coach, but you're not a coach.
Let's hit on one more running back. Former Wisconsin Badger Briar Allen getting drafted to the Jets to back up Breece Hall. What do you think of this pick? I think it's an interesting pairing. I still think that Braylon could stand to get a little leaner, get a little more explosive for himself.
Yeah, he should be early, like low 230s. He weighed, I think, 235 at the combine, which is like pretty good. Like he should never be above that. Yeah. Never ran the 40. I like Braylon a lot, but it's how he runs and how him and Blake Corum should swap how they run, like based on their size. Like Braylon is actually, he's a little tougher than I think he gets credit for, but he's more of like a zone runner, I think. More just like, wide and split, and because I think his vision's pretty good and all that, but he's a finessey big body runner. But I actually like that with Breece Hall because Breece can do everything, but he needs time. He's gotten hurt, all these things. So now you get a guy that can, no matter what, can eat some touches, however we want to do it. So I like this. I'm surprised Braylon actually lasted as long as he did. I could have saw him sneaking into the third round, but all just depends on the flavors you want. It's like just so they have insurance to run the ball, because every time Breece Hall's gotten hurt, they've been like, oh God. But that's been also Zach Wilson under center too, doesn't help.
Yeah. It gets a little tough. So if it just feels, we're doing the same thing as last year with the Jets. If these pieces can stay healthy, this offense should be good. The Fashanu pick in the first round. We'll get to offensive line in a second. A little rapid fire there. They have talent. It's just got to stick together. But at the same time, we're asking Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams, Tyron Smith, stay on the field, please.
Morgan Moses. I mean, Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yeah,
he's an injury too. Breece Hall. And that's just the offense. Defense is gonna be sick. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, they're gonna be nasty on defense for sure.
And that's why I'm actually kind of like. I mean, the Jets are obviously going to be such an interesting team, but I'm a little more bullish on them because it's maybe just because, if it hits, it's going to hit. It's just that they have to thread such a needle because this is who they're betting on. This is the guys they have to build around because just how the makeup of it is.